Good morning, good morning. How you guys doing today on this March 6, 2024? You guys good? Hope you guys are good. Hope you guys are currency traders like I am. I like to trade any type of market, doesn't matter, as long as there's a market and as long as there's an opportunity. But currencies are the asset that I've fallen in love with. Absolutely love currencies. I love the way they move. I love the way that they form their trends, hold their trends. Their moves can be so big for a very long time. You got amazing leverage with currencies. Little goes a long way. So today I wanted to focus on the currency market. Throughout the week we were looking at the indexes, we looked at gold, we looked at a lot of stocks, and we looked at some euro and US dollar, Japanese yen, and so forth. But today I'm going to go through the currency markets. And it's quite powerful to look at the currency markets and look at the cross pairs and see what supply or demand areas they're responding to. And they're very good at giving us an idea of what direction price is likely going to go with the major pairs. So that's what I'd like to do today. And you can see that the first chart that I have up on my screen is the Aussie dollar. And Aussie, for those that have been tracking the CFTC data with me, will know that the banks have been doing something very special with the Aussie lately. They've been really just focusing on short positions with the Aussie. And it's very interesting because I don't think I've ever come across that before in all my years tracking the CFTC data. I've never really seen them just focusing on short positions. But that's what's been going on for quite some time. I mean, if you take a look at the positions here, you'll see that this has been the current theme, right? And I can go back, look at this, okay? Let me just scroll back and you'll see, okay? You see how the long column, it's only back here where the long column was aggressive. That's 2017, okay? 2017 was the last time they were aggressive. Now let's go forward. Look, see? Red. Look at this column here. Okay, just to show you what I'm looking at, let me highlight it here so you can see exactly where I'm talking about. I'm talking about this column here. All right, red. This is 2018. Let's scroll up. Okay. Less red. More red in 2019. More red. More red. That means aggressive with their positions. 2020, aggressive with their positions. And then mid-2020, not so much. Summer of 2020, not so much. In 2020, September, they got a little bit aggressive with their longs, but then again, they didn't. Then they let go. Then they weren't doing much. And then look at red. Look at the aggressiveness in 2021. Okay, look how aggressive in 2022. Look how aggressive again in September. Okay, now we're into 2023. Look how aggressive in May 2023. Then they take profits. Then they add their shorts again. Then they take profits. Then they add their shorts again. All right. And this is where we are right now. This is February 27, 2024. It's the latest set of data that we have. And what we can see is that they were super aggressive with short positions. And why were they super aggressive with short positions? Well, we were talking about this. Price had come up to this peak here, and then they started to aggressively add to their shorts. And this is what happened. We got a big decline in price, causing it to drop. Now they're taking profits. Well, they're starting to take profits on their short positions. But here's the thing. When we look at the monthly chart of the Aussie, we can clearly see that price is sitting within an area of demand. Okay, and this is what's been causing price to hold this area. Even though they are, the banks have been adding shorts, taking profits, adding shorts, taking profits, adding shorts, and now we're in the taking profits phase. You can see how price has moved up and has moved down, and it's all been because of short positions, which is just goes to show you the power of the institutions and what they can do with their positions. When they open up short positions in a great amount, it tends to cause price to drop. When they close those positions, it tends to make price rally. And this is what's been going on all this time. All right, they've been increasing shorts, decreasing, increasing, decreasing, and so forth. So the question remains, what direction is price going to go into? Well, when we look at the higher time frame, and higher time frame I mean 6-month chart, we can see that price has dropped, contacted an area of demand, rallied, contacted an area of demand, potentially removed it. And so this leads me to suspect that over time we're going to see a drop in price. Okay, so the first signal that we'd be watching for is that monthly chart, to have this monthly area of demand be taken out. As long as this demand holds, we can't expect much more from price, besides what it's been doing since January 2023. Okay, this whole cycle of selling and profit taking from short positions. So then I like to look at AUDCAD. All right, so we have a general idea of what's going on. The data is not really telling us what direction price is going to go into, because they've been so focused on shorts and they've been manipulating their short positions to cause price to go up and down. So we can't really rely on the data to give us a longer term direction, is what I'm trying to say here. Okay. So what do? Well, we can look at AUDCAD and look for signs to see what direction price could possibly take. And we have all the major time frames that we like to focus on here. And so I look at the 6-month chart and I see that there is a bias to the downside. Okay, the bias is to the downside because we have supply being contacted here. So I make note of that. Red. I look at the monthly chart and I see slight bias to the downside. Why is that? Well, because last thing I see is contact of supply areas. But if I follow along with price, I will notice something interesting. And I will see that the last time it contacted supply, it dropped. It got down to here, and then what did we get? We get 2 basing candles here. And what's the next thing? Bullish engulf. Not bullish engulf, but a bullish momentum candle. Okay, so that's telling me that momentum was heading upwards now. We had supply in play, pressures to the downside, but then basing, bullish momentum, basing, but then we get the bearish engulf. Okay, so momentum is now shifting. So we have monthly chart, bearish bias because supply was in play, but then when we follow along price to see what happens after it contacted supply, we see bullish momentum and then bearish momentum. So the question is, where does that bearish momentum come from? Well, we go down to the next time frame and we start to see very clearly what's going on here. I look at the weekly chart and I see that bearish momentum came from here, right here. So this switch in momentum here on the monthly chart came from here on the weekly chart. So what do we have? Remember, all these time frames are telling me something very, very clear. It's like a map, okay? And it's telling me what to expect in terms of direction and the time frame. that this direction should take place. Okay? And how long this move should continue in that direction. So just like I did with the monthly chart, now I'm going to look at the weekly chart. And I see momentum came in from that area of supply, but then what did we have here? Basing, momentum to the upside. What's the next candle? Basing, and now we're creating the next candle. We don't know if that's basing or if it's going to be creating a momentum candle. It's likely basing, and the reason why I say that is because what is it today? Today is Thursday, right? So pretty much the end of the week. What do we see here on the 4-hour chart? The first day of the week was, sorry, today's Wednesday. Did I say Thursday? Gosh, I'm all over the place. First day of the week was March 4th. Okay. March 4th is right there. Okay. Right here. And what have we seen all throughout here? Basing. Okay. Which is these two candles here. So we're likely going to continue this basing. But if I wanted to know what direction price is going to head into short term, what would I need to watch for? A breakout of this ranging here on the 4-hour chart? Yeah, I would say so. Why? Because when you follow through all the time frames, 1, 2, 3, it leads you to a point, like a point in a movie, okay? You're following the storyline, following, and then you get to a point. What do we see? The storyline is that massive supply came into play on the 6-month, pressure to the downside. Okay, that's the wide-angle lens. Let's zoom in a little bit more. What do we see? Monthly time frame, supply came into play, price dropped, but then we started to get momentum to the upside. But then, right at the last minute, we got to turn to the downside. Why? Because of weekly supply coming into play. So that means medium-term pressure to the downside. Expect medium-term pressure to the downside. And that's exactly what we got. If you remember when we were looking at the Aussie US dollar, what did we get? We've been seeing pressure to the downside overall, okay? In amongst the banks, increasing shorts, decreasing shorts, increasing shorts, and decreasing shorts, overall the pressure has been to the downside. So now we see something similar happen on the weekly chart like we were seeing on the monthly chart. And that is momentum candle to the upside and now basing. So to be able to determine what direction price is going to head into next, you'd be focusing your attention on the 4-hour chart. A break of this range to the upside signals price will move upwards. And where will it move upwards? Well, weekly chart, go to the daily chart. We go to the daily chart and we have to look at what dynamics is taking place here. And let me just open up here a little bit more. I would say I see a very poor quality area here. Okay, now I'm going to figure out if there's any areas that we should be watching for with respect to supply and demand. We might have something. I'd be looking at something here. Okay. Now, what I like to do after I've located an area of buying or selling is I like to place a line on it, just like this, and then I'll show you. I sync it. There we go. It's synced. So now it's going to show up on other time frames. I think I synced the wrong. Did I sync the zone? Let me see here. Oh no, there it is. There's the lines. There we go. Okay. So that's the ranging that I was talking about. Okay, this is the ranging. Now let me just adjust this and move it down. There you go. Now let me just erase these marks. Oops. Erase these marks so I can show you what's going on here. Now watch this. So that area that I just drew on the daily chart is this here. And I was mentioning that we have a range taking place on the 4-hour right here. So you want to know direction? You watch this ranging here on the 4-hour chart. And if it happens to break out and it especially close above this ranging here, then what we're likely going to get is a push up to this area here. Why is that? Because this reversal here and this momentum and this basing, if this provides momentum to the upside like this, it is likely going to hit the next available area of supply before it reacts and causes some kind of a move in the opposite direction. Okay, this is the supply and demand dynamics that we use to determine where price is going to go, okay, and on what time frame, and in what time frame it's going to make these moves. Right? This is just a little example, but this is the process that we use to be able to determine what direction price is going to be heading into. Right? So this is what we see for Aussie CAD. And knowing this gives us an indication of whether or not the Aussie is going to be strong or the CAD is going to be strong or weak. So Aussie CAD, this is what we see. We see potential for upside, but there's also potential for downside because of the storyline that we're in. So we wait to see this ranging, and we wait to see whether or not this ranging wants to break to the upside or to the downside. All right, range. There we go. Now let's quickly go to the Aussie Japanese yen because we're running out of time here. I did want to go into some detail with you there. But let's take a look here. Again, we'll do a brief look. 6-month chart, what do we see? Supply is in play. Okay? Supply is in play. So what does that tell me? Longer term, we expect price to drop. I go over to the monthly chart. What do I see? Supply is in play. So what does that tell me? Longer term, we expect price to drop. I look at the weekly chart. What do I see? I see an upward structure. So what does that tell me? That tells me that medium term we could remain at these highs. Until what? Until this area breaks. So if you really want to see momentum to the downside, you wait for that upward structure to break. And then momentum kicks in. Okay? Next daily chart, upward structure. You want short to medium term momentum to start kicking in. Need this structure to break for price to drop towards this area. And then this has to break for this to happen. So that on the monthly chart, this could be playing out. Okay? So we're in a holding pattern pretty much at this point because we have the daily, weekly upward structures holding price up, even though supply is coming into play. Aussie Kiwi, we don't have much going on here. Longer term, monthly chart, last area that was contacted was supply, which has been pushing pressure to the downside. CAD Yen, let me go through CAD Yen with you because I like this one. And I look at the 6-month chart. What do I see? Bearish pressure. Why? Because supply is in play. I look at the monthly chart. What do I see? Bearish pressure because supply is in play. I look at the weekly chart. What do I see? I see this. Actually, I should go back one. I see this. And what else do I see? I see that there could be an ascending structure here. I see that price is quite a distance away from that ascending trend line. So first things first is that price would have to make a decline towards this area before it could ever start really kicking in momentum to the downside. So what would be the first sign of that? Well, we look at the CAD yen. Break of an ascending structure would be the first sign of that. Has that happened? Yes, it has. And you see the momentum to the downside now kicking in, right? You see that, right? All right. And let's zoom in here. Let me show you something interesting. We have a trend line. Let's see. Probably here, like this. And let me just open this up really quickly. Yeah, and we likely have this here. Okay. So let me show you what's going on here. So I've taken you through the time frames. This is institutional supply coming into play here to provide short-term momentum to the downside. Why are they providing short-term momentum to the downside? Because they just broke the ascending structure here on the daily chart. So you see the momentum to the downside. Is this momentum going to fulfill or facilitate a move here? Possible. So what does that tell you? It tells you short-term momentum is down, medium-term momentum is down, but we keep watching those lower time frame structures to ensure that supply is constantly coming into play and demand is constantly being removed. So what does that tell you? Well, it tells me two things: a weak Canadian dollar or a strong Japanese yen. Then I can take a look at the US CAD, US Japanese yen, and try to determine which is which. Because this pair can be dropping for two reasons. One, because the Canadian dollar is very weak, or it could be because the Japanese yen is very strong. Let's take a quick look at that. US CAD, do we see any signs of anything? It's holding still, sideways. So why is the CAD yen dropping? CAD yen is dropping because we have short-term weakness on the US dollar Japanese yen. Okay. So if this was to start going up, then we would expect some weakness on the Canadian dollar, which means we'd expect this to go upwards. All right, we've done about 24 minutes live. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you very much for joining. Wish I could go through more currency pairs with you, but I like to keep these shows to about 20 minutes or so, and we're over by 5 minutes. But I just wanted to give you a little example of how we do things here at the school, and the type of analysis that you'll learn when you come and join us. So I hope you enjoyed it. Please do me a favor, like and share. The more likes and the more shares, the more I'm willing to share with you guys. All right? So I really appreciate all your support. Once again, we have a new special discount that we're offering to new members. So if you're interested in becoming a student with us, please visit us, whiteoakfx.com. You can click on the plans and pricing, and you can see the new discount that we have offered to you guys. All right, that's it. Hope that was somewhat helpful to your trading, and hope you have a great day. Thanks again for joining me this morning, and we will talk to you soon. All right, take care, everybody. Have a good one.